قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، وصلى الله وسلم وبارك على عبده ورسوله الأمين سيدنا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه ومن اهتدى بهديه واستنى بسنته إلى يوم الدين. أما بعد, dear brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh, and welcome to this new live episode of Ask Zad. Feel free to call, and you'll find the numbers displayed at the bottom of your screens, and also you can call through Skype. And until we get the first caller, Samia says, if I forgot to do one part of wudu, that is ablution, and remember it right after completing wudu, do I have to do wudu again or wash the part I forgot? Now, what Samia is referring to is the issue of forgetting, for example, to wash my left arm. So I did everything. I rinsed my mouth, sniffed water up my nostrils and pushed it out, washed my face, washed my right hand, wiped over my head, washed my feet. And then I've noticed that this is dry. So she says, do I have to do the wudu again or simply just wash my left arm? The answer is, you have to do the left arm and what comes afterwards, because what comes after it is void. So washing your face, rinsing your mouth and nose, this is valid. Washing your right arm, this is valid. Wiping over your head and washing your feet is invalid, because there are 6 pillars for wudu. That is washing the face, including the mouth and the nose, washing the arms to the elbows, wiping over the head, washing the feet up to the ankles, the order, face, arms, head, and feet, and then to be simultaneous, not leaving a gap. What you have done, you neglected the pillar of order, and hence you have to go back, wash your left arm, wipe your head, and then wash your feet. Usama from Pakistan.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Salam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
How are you, Sheikh?
I'm doing well, alhamdulillah. What can I do for you, Usama?
Sheikh, I have some questions. First question is, passing a wind breaks wuzu or not?
Okay.
And second question is, I have performed ghusl in a sunnat way, but my wuzu breaks. So I have to perform ghusl as well, or only wuzu? And sir, can I keep minimum distance with my kinship? Now, I'm not cutting them off completely, but just only to maintain peace and to avoid any argument. Only avoid little bit talks. And so last question is about dua for forgiveness. I've read it from Islam Muslim. That was Astaghfirullah azim allazi la ilaha illa huwal qayyum wa atubu ilayh. I want to confirm this is right or not. Yes, Sheikh. And so last question, Astaghfirullah azim allazi la ilaha illa huwal hayyul qayyum wa atubu ilayh.
Okay.
And so last question is tahajjud time. What is the ending? Before Fajr Azan or what? So thank you so much.
Barakallah feek. Hayyakallah akhi. So Usama had a bundle of questions, mashallah. Number 1, does passing wind break the wudu? The answer is unanimously yes. It is one of the things that nullify your wudu. And this is backed by the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ and by the consensus of scholars. Number 2, if I have performed the sunnah ghusl, which means that I performed wudu, then I washed my entire body, and I pass wind, do I have to repeat the ghusl? The answer is no. The major ritual impurity has been uplifted with your ghusl. Now what was broken was your minor ritual impurity, which is broken by your wudu. So all what you have to do is just simply perform wudu again, but your ghusl is intact. Thirdly, he is asking about keeping my distance from my kinship, just to avoid argument and to avoid conflict. I'm not severing my kinship. I meet with them, I exchange salam with them. I maybe occasionally send them an SMS or call them on the phone. But I don't like mixing with them. I don't like to go once every week or couple of weeks and hang out with them or invite them to my home or go to their homes and eat. I just try my level best to maintain a cordial relationships without falling into argument, to avoid conflict. Is there anything wrong with that? As long as it is not considered to be severing your kinship, there's nothing wrong in that at all. Sometimes you may talk to them once every month. That would be the norm, because anything less than that, it would be a little bit cold. And people would think that, okay, he is severing his kinship. There is a dua for seeking forgiveness. He says that he read in Hisn al-Muslim, Astaghfirullah al-Azim al-Hayy al-Qayyum alladhi la ilaha illa hu wa atubu ilayh. To my knowledge, that the authentic hadith does not include al-Azim. So Astaghfirullah alladhi la ilaha illa hu al-Hayy al-Qayyum wa atubu ilayh, without inserting al-Azim. Though this is a description of Allah Azza wa Jal, but the dua, when we come to a dua, which the Prophet ﷺ tells us that Allah forgives the sins of an individual, even if he had run away from meeting the enemy army, which is a major sin. However, adding this description or this word or this adjective is not part of the sunnah. And we have to restrict ourselves to the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, even if it's a little bit different. In the hadith of Baraka ibn Azib, may Allah be pleased with him, the Prophet told him that whenever you go to bed, you intend to sleep, perform your wudu, and then lie down on your right hand side and say, Allahumma inni aslamtu nafsi ilayk, wa wajjahtu wajhi ilayk, wa fawwadtu amri ilayk, wa alja'tu dhahri ilayk, raghbatan wa rahbatan ilayk, la malja'a wa la manja minka illa ilayk, amantu بكتابك الذي أنزلت وبنبيك الذي أرسلت. The last phrase, آمنت, I believe in your book and in the prophet that you had sent. So Al-Bara repeated the whole thing again to the Prophet, but instead of saying وبنبيك الذي أرسلت, he said, and I believe in the messenger you had sent. He did not say the prophet you had sent. The Prophet stopped him and corrected him and said, no, say وَبِنَبِيِّكَ الَّذِي أَرْسَلْتَ, with the Prophet you had sent, not with the messenger you had sent, which means that the meaning is almost the same, yet it is intended for itself that you should be careful in stating exactly what the Prophet had said, alayhi salatu wasalam. Zainab from the States. Zainab.
Assalamu alaikum.
Salamtullah.
I have 3 questions.
Okay, listen to me.
My first question is,
yes.
My first question is it allowed for us to draw fantasy creatures that are based off of real creatures and have their features? My second question is about a board game in which to win, you move your pawns to the finish line, and to move your pawns, you draw cards that have numbers on them, and the numbers are the number of spaces you move. And you said before that using number generators or drawing cards with numbers is, instead of using die, is like cheating Allah. So does that mean that it is haram to play this board game even though it didn't originally have die? My third question is about a restaurant game in which there are holidays that are like real holidays like Halloween and Valentine's, but they are not based upon real holiday timings or based on the clock in the game. and you decorate based on the holidays to get more points.
I didn't get, Zainab, I didn't get your third question. You're asking about decorations or about games that coincide with festivals of the disbelievers?
Games that coincide with the festival of the disbelievers.
I cannot hear you.
Third question.
I don't understand your question, Zainab. You're speaking a little bit ambiguously. Can you make it a bit clearer to me, please?
So, my third question is about a game in which there are holidays and you decorate based on the holidays.
Okay.
But it's not based on real holiday timing. So, what if you decorated based on different holidays than the holiday that is currently going on? Would that make it okay to play the game, or is it haram either way?
Okay. I will answer your questions, inshallah. Abu Yusuf from Saudi.
السلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
كل سنة طيب كل عام وانتم بخير. السلام يا شيخ.
بارك الله فيك. جزاك الله خير أخي. How are you?
الحمد لله جزاكم الله خير. حياك الله. We miss you a lot.
بارك الله فيك. I'm always here أخي.
Yes, I appreciate. Thank you. Sir, I have a question.
Yes, sir.
A boy married against the wishes of the parents. I mean, he chose the girl and he requested the parents to go to the house and give a proposal. But they say, no. Why have you chosen the girl? We don't want you to select your girl from your side. We will select. It is our fault. It's our duty. We are parents. So he keep on telling them 1 year, he didn't talk and all that. Finally, he got married and took the girl away from the city. He has some postings. He's doing some postgraduate course, something like that. The parents are cursing them. They said they don't want to discuss him. They don't want to see his face unless until he divorced the girl. They claim that the girl is come to the house. They made pictures, saw in the laptop, something like that. So many things. They are saying something. The boy is saying something. So we try to mediate, but nobody is listening to anything. So the parents said, "Khalas, we don't want him at all. We don't want him." So he said, "Why are they are cursing?" And so many big stories. You maybe understand now.
Okay.
So they are saying that it is first for the parents to select the girl, not the boy himself. He's an adult. It is not the duty of the boy to select the girl. We parents, we will do everything. It is our first. We have grown you up. We paid everything for all your education. So we don't want to see you. You are dead for us. They are saying like this. So what's the ruling on this Islamic Sharia?
Okay, I will answer you, inshallah.
I appreciate it.
Barakallah fik. Abdullah from Canada.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm doing well, Abdullah. Jazakallah khair. Alhamdulillah. What can I do for you?
Sheikh, I have 4 questions for you.
Yes.
Sheikh, my first question is, for the zikr after salah, does that have to be done after the fard salah or the sunnah salah?
Okay.
My second question is, for the prayer calculation, should I follow Isna or al-Qura in Canada?
What is the other calculation?
For the prayer calculation, should I follow Isna or al-Qura?
Okay.
It's Isna is like Islamic North America.
Got it.
Yeah. A third question is, after answering the call of nature, and when you wash yourself with your left hand, is it permissible to, after that, dry yourself with toilet paper with your right hand? Is that permissible? And Sheikh, my last question is, Sheikh, I've heard that Sheikh Al-Albani says that niqab is not a binding obligation, but then I heard Sheikh bin Baz and Sheikh Ibn Uthaymeen say that it is a binding obligation. So which is the correct view?
Okay.
Thank you, Jazakallah.
Barakallah feek. So I think we will hold the taking questions for a while until we finish this, and then we will resume taking questions, inshallah. Usama's 5th question, tahajjud prayer, when does it end? The answer is with the break of dawn, which is the horizontal white thread that appears in the east, which separates the blackness of the night. This white horizontal thread is called the break of dawn, which is usually inaugurated by or identified by the adhan. The moment the mu'adhin says Allahu Akbar, that is the end of your tahajjud. Zainab from the US, she says, what's the ruling on drawing live creatures, whether they're alive, meaning that a dog, a cat, a lion, or something that we make up and create, like Mickey Mouse, for example, or like SpongeBob, something that does not exist, but we give it life, we give it a face and eyes and nose. This is totally prohibited. The Prophet said, alayhi salatu wasalam, in an authentic hadith, in the Sahih, the most tormented people on the Day of Judgment are those who create such pictures. Allah will tell them, give life to what you have created, and they won't be able to do that. So this is totally prohibited. She's asking a second question, but the sound wasn't very clear to me, but I think she was referring to dice. The hadith of the Prophet ﷺ is crystal clear. Why? This is something we don't know. The Prophet told us, Fajr is 2 rak'ah, Maghrib is 3 rak'ah. Why? We don't know. And the people are checking their dials and their headsets and their TV. What does this have to do with dice? Well, I'm coming to you. So when the Prophet prohibits dice, why? It's the same reason for having Fajr 2 rak'ahs and 3 rak'ahs for Maghrib, which is submission. The Prophet says, it's best for a person to dip his hand in the blood of swine, of pork, rather than to play with dice. That's it. Full stop. Is there any justification, any logic? This is submission. Why face the Kaaba and not put it on our right-hand side when we pray? This is submission. This is religion. You have to say, we adhere and we listen and we obey. So can we sort of play around and beat around the bush and write numbers and figures on pieces of paper and randomly select them? So I'd have a piece of a card saying 6-4, as if I played with the dice and it says 6-4 or 6-6, which is the highest. So can I do this on a piece of paper? It's the same concept, and I believe that this is not permissible. Finally, she says something about playing a game, and this game happens to have decoration and festivals of disbelievers, such as Valentine, Thanksgiving, Halloween, Christmas, New Year's, etc. So can we play with such games? Answer is no. Allah Azza wa Jal says at the end of Surah Al-An'am, chapter 6, قُلْ إِنَّ صَلَاتِي وَنُسُكِي وَمَحْيَايَ وَمَمَاتِي لِلَّهِ رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ لَا شَرِيكَ لَهُ. Say, my prayers, my sacrifice, my life and my death are for Allah Azza wa Jal alone, no partners associated with Him. So my life and death is for Allah. I cannot play a game that involves something that is haram, something that has pagan roots or other religions' festivals, and play. I'm enjoying it. It's not something that I'm compelled to do. This is something that I choose. Where is my aqeedah then? What remains of my true worship to Allah Azza wa Jal? When I see signs of kufr or shirk, and it's okay, we're having fun, we're playing with it. This is not permissible, and Allah knows best. Abu Yusuf from Saudi Arabia, he is telling about an issue that is reoccurring so many times. And unfortunately, I get tens, let me rephrase that. I get hundreds of questions a week on such issues. The boy loves a girl, or he doesn't love a girl. The boy is 25 years of age. He's young, he's fit, he's healthy. There's so many temptations out there. And he goes to mom and dad, please help me. I have to get married. And they say, no, it's not yet time for you. Your elder sister is not married yet. Give it a couple of years more, or 3 years maybe, until when you finish 30. And the boy says, this is too much. I will fall into sin. I will fall into haram. And they could care less. So he speaks to his mom, Mom, I'd like to marry such a so-and-so girl. She's the sister of my friend. And she says no, and she curses him. He goes to his father and he only finds the same treatment, and he curses him. And they all say, we have nothing to do with your marriage. Not only that, if you get married, we will not talk to you, we'll discommunicate with you, we will boycott you, we will not look at you or at your wife or at your children, and we'll curse you day and night. Well, sad news is, most of the boys could care less, because the father and the mother are transgressing against their son. They're committing a major sin when they stop him from marrying. They said, no, we paid for his education. Yes, but you did not enslave him. He must marry the woman we choose for him. Wrong. He's not obliged to marry whomever you choose for him. If the father says, no, he has to marry the woman I choose for him. Akhi, you want him to marry such a girl? You go ahead and marry her. Let him choose. He's the one who's gonna live with her for the rest of his life. You don't get to choose for him. And it's none of your business as a father or as a mother to control your son's life like this. Then I will curse him. Akhi, curse him from here till the day of judgment. It would not even reach the lower heaven, because you are zalim. You are committing an act of transgression. It's like saying, I don't like him to drink soft drinks that has cola in it. Only Fanta or 7-Up. It's none of your business. This is his preference. He drinks whatever he wants. He marries whomever he wants. He's a man. He doesn't need your approval or consent. But out of respect and being dutiful, he is trying to put some sense into your heads. Usually, such parents would not bend. They would continue to be stiff and not willing to compromise till their death. Sad news, but unfortunately, there are parents who are so abusive like this, and even worse. Such parents have horrible life. The mother was treated by her husband in a similar way when she was young. She was enslaved by her in-laws, and now she wants to do the same to her daughter-in-law. She wants someone to be her slave and to cook and clean. This is why she refuses the boy to marry someone of his own choice. And all of this dhulm is reoccurring and born over and over again. Well, these people will be punished on the day of judgment. As for you, my friend, you see someone you like, she's righteous, practicing, from a good family, your parents don't want or don't accept you marrying anyone unless they choose for you. In this case, you are not a renegade. You are not a rebel. You are a human being choosing your spouse that you will live with for the rest of your life. Let them curse, let them say whatever they want. Allah will not hear them. Allah would not look at them for their transgression. Now, you be diplomatic. Don't confront them. Don't go head on. Try to be diplomatic, dutiful. Keep on calling them even after years and years of boycotting you, but you have to remember that they are your parents and your gateway to paradise. They're wrong, they're transgressing, they're sinful, without any question. But again, this does not give you the justification or the reason to boycott them in exchange and not to talk to them. No. Keep trying your level best, maybe dua in your sujood that Allah softens their heart. But at the end of the day, akhi, go and get married and don't look back. We have a short break. Stay tuned and inshallah, we'll be right back.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Today we're going to talk about the book Interactions of the Greatest Leader. The Prophet of Allah sallallahu alaihi wasallam ordered his companions to love the poor and be close to them. Abu Thar al-Ghifari radiyallahu anh said, my intimate friend sallallahu alayhi wasallam ordered me with 7 things: to love the poor and be close to them, to look at those who are below me and not those who are above me, to keep the ties of the womb, no matter how far they are, to not ask anyone for anything, to say the truth even if it is bitter, to not fear when standing up for Allah's rights the blame of anyone that blames. And he ordered me to say, La hawla wa la quwwata illa billah. There is no ability or strength except through Allah, because it is from a treasure beneath the throne. Reported by Ahmad. Albani ruled it authentic in As-Sahih.
Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah and welcome back. Brother Abdullah from Canada had a number of questions. Number one, the dhikr we say after the prayer, should it be said only after fard or can we say it after sunnah? No, or that is nafil prayer. The sunnah, the right way of doing it is that our Prophet ﷺ used to conclude his fard prayer by Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Then he says, Astaghfirullah, 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 Allahumma anta as-salam wa minka as-salam, tabarakta ya dhal jalali wal ikram. Then he turns his face to the congregation and he says his adhkar. Never ever he would finish prayer like our brothers from the Hanafi maslak, especially from the subcontinent. They finish salam and they immediately stand up and pray their nafil prayer. This is totally wrong. This is totally against the sunnah. Regardless of what your scholars say, this is against the way of the Prophet ﷺ. You have the choice between choosing what the Prophet used to do ﷺ, or what your whatever taught you how to do it are doing it. So Sheikh, they don't know. It's not my business to tell you whether they know or not. My business is to tell you what the Prophet used to do ﷺ. First of all. Second of all, the biggest mistake, again, if we ignore the issue of dhikr, that they're praying in the same spot they had offered the fard prayer, which is haram. The Prophet ordered us ﷺ not to pray with the fard prayer unless we step a step forward or backwards or to the sides, or we speak, so that it's indicating that we are not praying fard or connecting fard with something else. Those who pray in the same spot are sinful for what they are doing. So to answer your question, Brother Abdullah, is that this is the sunnah. Now maybe once in a blue moon that I have an errand, I have something to attend immediately after salat. So I pray the fard, offer salam, I move a little bit sideways or to the front, I offer my sunnah, and I immediately leave the masjid doing my adhkar afterwards. Yeah, this is permissible once in a blue moon due to time constraints, but not to do it every time. Ibrahim from the States. Ibrahim.
Yes, Assalamu alaikum. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam wa barakatuh.
My question is, can we do sajdat al-sahw and the nawafil and the fard, or only the fard?
Any more questions?
That's it.
Okay, I will answer inshallah. So going back to Abdullah's second question, he says, which calculation for us in Canada are we supposed to follow? Are we supposed to follow al-Qura, or are we supposed to follow ISNA, or the University of Karachi, or the Muslim World League, etc.? To the best of my knowledge, following the calculations of al-Qura is the best when it comes to Fajr, Dhuhr, Asr, and Maghrib. You must not follow it when it comes to Isha, because they have an error which fixes Isha timing to be an hour and a half, 11 months of the year after sunset, and 2 hours in Ramadan after sunset, which is totally bogus and not correct. Usually Isha is about an hour to 70 minutes after sunset. So if Isna is within this range after sunset, or the Muslim World League, then you should follow that in Isha. But the rest, you should follow al-Qura. His third question is that we know that using the left hand to wash our private parts after defecating or urinating, and we should not use our right hands. But if I use water to cleanse myself, then I would like to dry my private parts with toilet paper using my right hand. Is that permissible? The answer is no. You should not touch your private parts with your right hand, whether to wash with water or to wipe with toilet paper. These things are to be used only using your left hand, and this is the instruction of the Prophet ﷺ. His last question was about the issue of niqab. What is niqab? Niqab is a face veil that women wear with an opening for the eyes, like a Zorro, like Ninja Turtles, whatever. And the niqab means the holes that they can look through their, with their eyes. So what's the ruling on that? Because he says, Sheikh Al-Albani, he read or heard somewhere that he says that niqab is not mandatory. Well, this is true. Sheikh Al-Albani's opinion is well known, that he sees the niqab not being mandatory, yet he always says this in all of his publications and books and lectures, yet all of my women folk, his wives, daughters, sisters, etc., they all wear the niqab. But he's making a point. This is his ijtihad, that it is not mandatory. And it's an issue of dispute. No one ever said that, no, it's not, there's no dispute about, over this issue. No one in his sound mind would say such a thing. Because any student of knowledge would know that there is a big place of argument and dispute over this issue. So it is not at all right to say, no, it is mandatory, full stop. It is an issue of dispute. But whenever we come to an issue of dispute, Allah says, فَإِن تَنَازَعْتُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ فَرُدُّوهُ إِلَى اللَّهِ وَالرَّسُولِ. If you ever dispute over an issue, return it back to Allah and to the Prophet ﷺ to know the ruling and the verdict on it. Allah Azza wa Jal is referring to the Quran. The Prophet ﷺ is referring to his Sunnah. So now this is an issue of dispute. What should we do? The most authentic opinion is that covering the face for women is mandatory, though it's an issue of dispute. And I would not like or want to expand over this issue, because I've said that so many times in lectures, and there was a debate with my dear brother Abu Usama al-Dhahabi in Birmingham in Green Lane Masjid years back, where we both were not given the sufficient time to explain. But inshallah, what was said was sufficient. Chapter 33, Surah Al-Ahzab. We have two verses, verse 53 and verse 59. Very easy to remember. Chapter 33, verse 53 and 59. They're one page different from one another. The first 53, Allah Azza wa Jal clearly says and addresses the mothers of the believers and the companions. So Allah says to the companions of the Prophet ﷺ, Abu Bakr, Umar, Uthman, Ali, etc., and whenever you ask the mothers of the believers, your mothers, for utensils, ask them from beyond a hijab, from beyond a visor, a screen, because this is purer for your hearts and for theirs. So the consensus of all scholars of Islam, that the mothers of the believers are obliged to cover their faces. There's no difference of opinion, none whatsoever. Agreed? Capiche? No problem. 53 states that the mothers of the believers must cover their faces. We have no problem in that. Consensus of the scholars, we have no problems with that. Let's move to verse 59. Very easy ayah. Everybody knows. Ya ayyuhan nabi. O Prophet of Allah, say, command your wives, your daughters, and the women of the believers to do what? To lower their garments, to lower their jilbab, so that they would not be recognized and hence harassed. Let's not go into so that they would not be recognized. Ignore this. The instruction to the mothers of the believers, to the daughters of the Prophet ﷺ, and to the Muslim women at large. What is the instruction? To lower their garments or jilbab. Okay, let us look at the first category, the wives of the Prophet ﷺ. What is lowering the jilbab to them? What is their hijab? Consensus of scholars, according to 53, cover their faces. Alhamdulillah. In this case, the daughters of the Prophet ﷺ and the Muslim women at large should follow this example that we have just understood from verse 53. If the instruction is to the wives of the Prophet ﷺ, his daughters and the women of the believers, is one. Tell them to lower their jalabib. So this definitely indicates that they must cover their faces like the instruction to the mothers of the believers and the wives of the Prophet. Anyhow, it's an issue of dispute, but this is the most authentic opinion, and there are so many overwhelming evidences to back it up, and this is not the time for it. So I hope this answers your question. Ramla from Saudi Arabia.
Assalamu alaikum, Sheikh.
Assalamualaikum.
Sir, I have three questions. Can I go?
Yes.
Okay. Sir, I have a WhatsApp group which is shared with my family and friends, and in which I shared some Islamic posts or Islamic videos, hadiths, and on daily basis I send some one or two ayah from Quran with translation, so that everybody can read. Because some might not have time to read on daily basis, and my intention is only to get reward. But I didn't force anyone. I only sent Islamic posts on regular basis. So is it permissible?
This is on WhatsApp?
Yes, sir.
Is it on WhatsApp?
Yeah, yes, it's a WhatsApp group.
Mahrams or non-mahrams?
Only female, my friends and my aunts and only.
Okay, second question.
Okay, and so one link question is because when I created this WhatsApp group, I already mentioned on the description or in the start that only share please some authentic hadiths and authentic Islamic posts. So, but I saw some posts which have no reference, and I do send reminder that please share some reference. So, am I sinful for it for providing them this platform because I did remind them to send authentic posts, but I feel that some my family friends share some posts without any reference.
Okay.
So, is there any sin on me?
Okay.
And my last question is, sir, there are some famous food channels on YouTube which have some music, and women hand are also showing. So whenever I look some recipes from these channels, I usually mute my volume so that I won't be able to listen these music. So still I'm sinful in watching these videos. And how about if I share these food recipes videos with my friends?
Okay.
That's all, sir.
I will answer you, inshallah. So Ibrahim from the US had one question, and that is the prostration of forgetfulness. Is it only for fard, or if I have done a mistake or an error in my voluntary prayers, night prayers, witr, nafil, ratiba, should I also offer the prostration of forgetfulness? The answer is yes. The voluntary prayers are identical to the fard prayers when it comes to most of the rulings. Yani almost 99.9%, like the Arabian elections. So they're identical. Maybe there is a slight difference here and there, but this is not the time to talk about it. So yes, if I'm praying Sunnat al-Fajr, for example, the 2 rak'ah before the fard, and I forgot to say Allahu Akbar when going for ruku', I made a mistake. Now, how can I rectify it? By offering the 2 prostrations of forgetfulness, and Allah knows best. Ramla from Saudi Arabia says she has a WhatsApp group with female friends and relatives, sharing with them beneficial posts, a verse of the Quran, a hadith, a nice reminder. Is there anything wrong in that? This is totally permissible and legit, and you will be rewarded for that, inshallah. Her second question is related to the same topic, but she, as an administrator, made a condition that no one should post something unless it is authentic. However, some of the members in this group may sometimes send something that is weak or something that is not authentic, maybe something that is an innovation or a quote for someone who's deviant and not a real good scholar. So she says, what is the issue in it? Can we, or as an administrator, can I just turn a blind eye? The answer is no. You need to bring that to their attention. You need to tell them that what you're doing is not permissible. The authentic hadith is so and so. So you have to correct it, because what they had done is that they publicly posted something which is wrong. So now I cannot go privately and discuss this with them. I have to also publicly say to everyone that, okay, that was wrong, and the evidence is so and so and so, the authentic hadith is so and so and so, this is an innovation, and the sunnah is so and so and so. If they were hurt or offended, tough bananas. This is their problem. But as an admin, it's your responsibility to ensure that everything is published, is not something against Islam. Yeah, maybe there is some room for maneuver when they publish something that is disputed upon, and the dispute is not so serious, or the hadith is something that is not that weak. This is debatable. But you're the admin. At the end of the day, if they don't comply, simply block them. Her last question was about some YouTube channels that deals with cooking, and these are picking up momentum nowadays. Unfortunately, people with the lockdown have nothing to do but to watch these videos and then make delicious meals, and the men get fatter and the women are fat by default, and it adds to their problems. Anyhow, if they do the proper exercising, they watch their diet, and they eat healthy, there's no problem. She says, there is music, and there might be showing off the hands, and sometimes the woman herself come. So can I watch this? If you mute the music, you're a female, so watching women cooking, there's no problem in that. Can I share it? If it has music, it is not permissible for you to share, because you will not guarantee that people would mute the music like you had done. Can I like it? The answer is, if it has haram, definitely not, because liking it is endorsing it. And we as Muslims should not endorse it. Yes, we may benefit from it if it's a good meal and a good recipe while staying away from haram, but this does not justify us sharing it with others, and Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. Hilal from the Emirates.
السلام عليكم سير.
السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. حياك الله.
جزاكم الله خير.
بارك الله فيك.
الله يبارك فيكم إن شاء الله for your services.
آمين.
I am also praying for all your team, sir.
What can I do for you, Hilal?
Shall I ask you one question, sir?
Yes, sir.
In this time of epidemic, now inshallah here they are going to open the masjid for salah. But there is some restrictions because I am having psoriasis.
You're having what?
Skin disease. Psoriasis. Skin disease.
Okay.
Yeah, and also I'm having sugar and BP for the past 10 years. So
Okay.
is it advisable to go to the mosque or to pray at home? That's what I would ask you, sir.
Okay. Any more questions, Hilal?
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Barakallah feek. Hayyakallah. Okay, Brother Hilal says in the Emirates they're about to open the masjids for worshippers. The problem is that he has skin disease and he has diabetes and other illnesses. So would it be advisable for him to go to the masjid? Akhi, first of all, the doctors say if you have diabetes or high blood pressure or heart problems or kidney problems, you're better off praying home until the dust settles down. And until this moment, even the doctors themselves don't know what's going on. You find the CDC saying something and the doctors saying something else. You hear people saying conspiracy and others say, no, this is a pandemic, and people saying that this drug is useful, and the other side says, no, this is fatal and it can kill you. So even the doctors themselves are confused. In this time of confusion, if you are afraid due to your health condition that you may be infected or infect others, it is best for you to pray home. There's no problem at all in praying home, alhamdulillah, because you have justification. You have a legitimate reason for you to pray home. Now, if this all goes away and people go back to the masjids and they pray shoulder to shoulder, foot to foot, like they used to, and the doctors say that, inshallah, it is safe for you, then you may go and pray without any problem, inshallah azza wa jal. Muhammad, question from the email says, in the hadith, it is mentioned that building anything over the grave is forbidden. Then why were there tombs on the Prophet ﷺ and the companions' graves in Jannatul Baqi' before 1925 demolition? I wasn't born on 1925, akhi, so I cannot comment on this. And I personally don't believe everything that is mentioned in history. I'm a Muslim. Ask me about Quran, about Sunnah. But anything else, I fail to reciprocate because I have no knowledge in it. First of all, what does the Sunnah clearly states about building tombs over graves? So we will take the knowledge from Quran and Sunnah rather than the books of history. We find that the Prophet ﷺ, in the hadith is in Sahih Imam Muslim, Abu al-Hayyaj al-Asadi, one of the tabi'een, said, Ali ibn Abi Talib, the cousin of the Prophet ﷺ and his son-in-law, and the fourth caliph, may Allah be pleased with him, said to him that, shall I dispatch you to do the things that the Prophet told me to do, alayhi salam? So now Ali is relaying the advice and the command of the Prophet ﷺ to his companion. What was it? Ali says, the Prophet ﷺ told me not to see a picture or a surah or a statue without dismantling it, to destroying it, disfiguring it, so that it would not become a picture or a statue, and not to leave any grave that is above the ground without leveling it. This is the hadith in Sahih Imam Muslim. No doubt about it. When the Prophet died, Mother Aisha told us that one of the last words the Prophet said was, may Allah curse the Jews and the Christians for taking the graves of their prophets as houses of worship. So the Prophet is warning us not to follow suit and not to take the graves of our Prophet ﷺ as a house of worship. Aisha comments and says, had he not said that, we would have showed his grave and built something on top of it. But they didn't do that. So let's go and check, where was the Prophet buried alayhi salatu wasalam? Unanimously. No Muslim would differ. He was buried in the house of Aisha. So was he buried in the masjid? No. The house of Aisha was adjacent to the masjid, but it was out of it. The Prophet used to sleep in that house, have intimacy with his wives. So he wasn't definitely in the masjid. It was outside of the masjid. Okay? Who was buried in the house of Aisha? Abu Bakr and Umar. So all were buried in the house of Aisha. So at the time of Abu Bakr, was the house included in the masjid? Nope. At the time of Umar? Nope. At the time of Uthman? Nope. At the time of Ali? Nope. At the time of Muawiyah ibn Abi Sufyan? Nope. Yazid ibn Muawiyah? Abdul Malik ibn Marwan? No. Until the year 88 of Hijrah, the house was separated from the masjid. Until Al-Walid ibn Abdul Malik, who was the Khalifa at the time, issued a directive to the ruler of Medina. And by the way, who was the ruler of Medina? Umar ibn Abdul Aziz, the great caliph, the just caliph of Bani Umayyah. So he ordered him to expand the masjid and include the houses of the wives of the Prophet ﷺ inside of the masjid to expand it. So he gathered the people of Medina. There were no companions. This was the era of Tabi'een, Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib and the others. And he consulted them and said, what should I do? They all opposed it and said, no, this is not permissible. This is prohibited. So he wrote back to the Caliph, Al-Walid ibn Abdul Malik, and he said, the scholars of Medina say that this is haram, this is not permissible. Do you think that the ruler would listen to them? Definitely not. He's got the police, he's got the army, he's got the air force. So he could not even care of what they had said. He said, Simon says, do it. Umar ibn Abdul Aziz had no other choice but to do it. And he demolished the area with the Qibla, and he included the grave of the Prophet ﷺ, because all the houses of the wives were demolished, and then he expanded the masjid. So you tell me, is this part of Islam? One would argue, okay, why not re-demolish it again and get the grave outside of the masjid? Subhanallah. Do you think that the Muslim world are equipped to understand or comprehend? The Prophet himself ﷺ said to Mother Aisha, had it not been that your people were recently idol worshippers, I would have demolished the Kaaba and I would have built it on the foundations of Ibrahim, and I would have made two doors for it, a door that people get into and a door that the people would exit from. Why didn't the Prophet do it, ﷺ? Because he feared that the people who were recently mushrik will turn again back to shirk and abandon Islam if they see such a thing. Nowadays, any government that would even think of doing such a thing, it would be damned as a kafir government or authority. So this is exactly following the Sunnah, so that people would not manipulate and play around with the masjid of the Prophet ﷺ. So follow the Quran and follow the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ and that of his companions, and neglect and ignore those grave worshippers who promote building over the graves against the teachings of the Prophet ﷺ and call people to glorify it and to offer sacrifice for it. And Allah Azza wa Jal knows best. This is a time that we have for today's or tonight's episode. Until we meet next time, I leave you fi amanillah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
قل هذه سبيلي أدعو إلى الله على بصيرة أنا ومن اتبعني وسبحان الله وما أنا من المشركين.